If you loved me, you'd rip that paper up. Otherwise, no wedding. My fiancée said when I asked her to sign a prenup. She called me her retirement plan, so I canceled everything. She went viral crying online, then got humiliated when her own bridesmaid exposed her gold digger texts. Hey Reddit, I thought I'd found the one. Built my business, stayed disciplined, and finally got engaged. But turns out, my fiancée and her family had other plans for my future. Plans that didn't involve respect, just my wallet. Before we get into how it all fell apart, let me start from the beginning. My name's Darius Holt. I'm 31, and I run a real estate and IT consulting business. It's not flashy tech billionaire money, but it's more than comfortable. I bought my first duplex at 24, kept reinvesting, and by 30 I had a handful of properties, plus a decent-sized client list in the IT space. I've always been the type who keeps spreadsheets for fun, tracks expenses to the cent, and prefers assets over toys. People around me describe me as disciplined, maybe a little too serious. I never really cared about flexing. I don't post vacations on Instagram. I don't wear flashy watches, and I drive a normal SUV because it's practical. My idea of a splurge was putting a home theater in my condo, which I use more than any car. That's the kind of guy I am. Then there's Selena Vera, 28. She was different from me in pretty much every way. She worked as a fitness coach and did personal training on the side. She also had an Instagram account she was trying to grow into something bigger. At the time we got serious, she had maybe 15,000 followers, which later grew to around 40,000. Her feed was a mix of gym selfies, motivational quotes, and those trendy day-in-my-life reels. Celine loved being the center of attention. Bold laugh, perfect poses, expensive tastes, and constant talk about manifesting abundance. We met at a gym opening. She liked that I wasn't staring, just checking emails. At first, dating her was fun and flattering, complete opposite of my usual type. But a year in, her energy turned into pressure. Constant photos, demanding likes and comments on posts, annoyed if I didn't hype her online fast enough. I brushed it off, but the cracks were there. Fast forward almost 3 years, I proposed. Nothing over the top. Rooftop dinner at my condo, sunset view of the skyline, ring I'd picked out months before. She cried, said yes, posted a video within an hour, and by the next morning her followers already knew every detail. For me, it was personal. For her, it was content. But I shrugged it off. That's when the wedding talk started, and Selene didn't hold back. Her dream? A destination wedding in the Amalfi Coast, Italy. Not a modest one either. She wanted a historic villa, live orchestra, designer gown, fireworks at the reception, the works. First rough estimate came back at over $100,000. She pitched it like this. Babe, it'll be unforgettable, and everyone will see what a power couple we are. I told her I'd saved for a wedding, but I'd always pictured something closer to $30,000 to $40,000 tops. She waved her hand like that was pocket change. Darius, you can afford it. This is once in a lifetime. I agreed to keep discussing it, but inside I already felt a knot forming. Spending that much on one day didn't make sense to me, but Celine was locked in on her vision. Then the small red flags started stacking up. A week after the proposal, she sat me down and said she was thinking about quitting her coaching job. Once we're married, I want to focus on being a wife and building my brand. A man should want his woman to shine. I asked what building her brand meant. She said sponsorships, lifestyle content, maybe fitness retreats funded up front until they took off. In plain terms, she wanted me to bankroll it. Next came the car. She casually dropped into conversation that she needed something flashier to match her new role as my fiancé. She sent me links to a white BMW X6 and a Porsche Macan, all with the line, "It'd be nice if this was in my name." I asked why it had to be in her name. Her answer, "Because it looks bad if I don't own anything." Another time she made a comment about my best friend Jalen. He's been in my life since college, runs a construction business, drives a beat-up truck half the time. We were at dinner, and Celine leaned over and whispered, "Don't you think he's kind of rough? I mean, for your best man, shouldn't you pick someone who matches the vibe? Like more polished?" That pissed me off. Jalen's the type who'd show up at 3 a.m. if I needed help. He's as real as they come. The fact she looked down on him just because he wasn't flashy said a lot. Individually, those things might not seem like deal breakers, but together they started forming a picture. The car, the quitting her job, the criticism of people close to me, and the wedding that was turning into a performance more than a celebration. Still, I brushed it aside. I told myself she just needed time, that she was excited, that maybe once the wedding hype settled, she'd calm down. I convinced myself that love meant compromise, even when it made me uneasy. Looking back now, that was the first mistake. After the first wave of excitement around the proposal, I decided it was time to bring up something I had prepared months earlier. I'd already spoken to my lawyer about it before I even bought the ring. He'd drafted a clean, straightforward prenup. Nothing tricky, no hidden clauses, just standard protections for my business, my properties, and my savings. If we ever split, what I had built before Celine wouldn't get touched. One night, we were sitting at my place. She was scrolling through Pinterest boards for wedding decor, showing me some $5,000 chandelier she wanted shipped from France. I waited until she finished her pitch, then I slid the folder across the table. Celine, this is something I need us to go through, I said. She picked it up, looked at the first page, and froze. What is this? It's a prenup. Just standard stuff. Protects my business and the properties. If anything ever happened, you'd walk away with whatever we built during the marriage. But what I already had stays mine. The temperature in the room dropped instantly. She set the papers down like they were contaminated. You're joking. I'm serious, I said. It's nothing unusual. Most people who own businesses do this. Her face went red. So you don't trust me. That's what this means. You think I'm here for your money? That's not what I said. This isn't about trust. It's about protection. It's smart. Smart? Darius, I've been with you for 3 years. I moved my life around for you. I planned our future with you. And you're telling me you don't think I'm good enough to share everything? I leaned back, kept my tone steady. It's not about good enough. It's about being responsible. This protects both of us. She stood up. No, this protects you. It insults me. A man who loved me wouldn't ask me to sign this. That phrase, a real man, stuck. I didn't respond right away because I wanted to avoid making it worse. But I knew right then this wasn't going to be a one-night argument. The next day, it blew up bigger. I got a call from her mom, Isolde. The moment I answered, her voice was sharp. Darius, how dare you? My daughter called me crying last night. A prenup? Do you have any idea how insulting that is? Isolde, with respect, it's standard. I'm protecting my business. It doesn't mean I love her less. She is giving you the best years of her life, and you repay her by handing her a contract like she's some random? She deserves unconditional commitment. She's 28, not 80. I'm giving her my best years too. This isn't about conditions. It's about being smart. Click. She hung up. A few hours later, Celine texted me. Dinner at my parents' tomorrow. We need to talk as a family. I showed up knowing what I was walking into. Their dining table was already set, like they were preparing for some negotiation. Celine sat next to her dad, Roland, who gave me a look like I'd just insulted the family name. We ate in silence for a few minutes, then Roland put his fork down. Darius, he started, I raised my daughter to expect a man who provides without hesitation. In our family, men take care of women. No contracts, no conditions. I nodded slowly. I understand your perspective, but I don't agree. I built my business with my own 2 hands. I can't just hand it over to chance. A prenup doesn't mean I won't provide. It means if things ever go bad, we don't destroy each other. Roland shook his head. You're talking like a businessman, not a husband. Marriage is about trust. If you can't trust my daughter, you shouldn't marry her. Celine chimed in, Exactly. You're already planning for divorce before we even start. I looked at her directly. No, I'm planning for security. That's different. If you trusted me, you'd understand that. The rest of dinner was icy. I thanked them for hosting, excused myself, and went home. I figured Celine might calm down after some time. Instead, the next night, she tried a different approach. We were arguing again about the prenup when she suddenly pulled out her phone, hit record, and started filming me mid-sentence. You hear that? She said into the camera. My fiancé thinks I'm after his money. He's already planning for divorce. I froze for a second, realizing what she was doing. Turn that off. She smirked. Maybe I should post this. Let your friends and clients see how controlling you really are. I kept my voice calm. If you post that out of context, I'll have my lawyer handle it. Delete it now. She rolled her eyes but stopped recording. Unbelievable. You're more worried about your reputation than my feelings. No, I said. I'm worried about lies being spread. There's a difference. She threw the phone on the couch. You know what, Darius? If you loved me, you'd rip that paper up right now. Otherwise, there's no wedding. I looked at her. No prenup, no wedding. That's final. Her jaw dropped. She was expecting me to fold. When I didn't, she stormed out of the room, muttering under her breath about me being cheap and cold. For the first time since the engagement, I felt like I'd drawn a clear line. After that night, I thought Celine might step back and think things through. Instead, she acted like nothing had happened. The very next morning, she posted a picture of us holding hands with the caption, "Can't wait to marry my provider, Jocker Amalfi wedding." That word again, provider. She wasn't saying partner. She wasn't saying future husband, just provider. I scrolled through the comments. Her friends were writing, "Girl, you won the jackpot," and living the dream. Not one person mentioned love or commitment. Selene leaned into the wedding planning harder than ever. She started dropping her non-negotiables on me like she was the CEO of some company, and I was the accountant funding her projects. First was the dress. She sent me a screenshot of a designer gown from some Paris boutique with a $20,000 price tag. "This is the one," she texted. When I asked if she'd at least shop around, she replied, "Why should I settle? This is the most important day of my life." Then came the bridesmaid situation. She told her 5 closest friends they'd each need to cough up around $3,000 for matching gowns and an overseas bachelorette trip. One of them apparently balked at the cost, and Selena told her, "If you can't invest in my big day, maybe you shouldn't stand beside me." The girl dropped out. Selena's response? "Whatever, I'll find someone else." The cherry on top was her new obsession, a wedding content team. She found some trendy media group that specialized in creating viral TikTok and Instagram clips during weddings. Price? $12,000 for a full package. When I asked why we needed that, she laughed. "Because, babe, this isn't just a wedding. It's an event. Do you know how many followers I'll gain from this?" I realized then that she wasn't planning a marriage. She was planning a show, and I was supposed to bankroll the whole thing. So, while she was busy sketching out flower arrangements, I started making moves of my own. Quiet ones. First thing I did was shut down the joint credit card I'd opened months earlier to make wedding deposits easier. I checked the balance and found she'd already maxed it out on wedding-related expenses, which included $1,200 in bridal skincare treatments and $900 on a bride-to-be fitness retreat. I paid it off, canceled the card, and set up alerts on all my accounts. Next, I met with my lawyer. We updated my will, restructured a couple of my property holdings, and moved a chunk of my savings into a protected business account. I wasn't going to let a cent slip through the cracks if things went sideways. I didn't say a word to Selene about any of this. She thought she was winning, thought I was sulking quietly in the background, but I was building a firewall around everything I had. Then came the day I pulled the plug. It was a Wednesday morning. Selene was at a yoga class, and I was at my desk with a notebook and my phone. I'd made a list of every vendor we had lined up. Venue, caterer, planner, florist, travel agency, band, decorator. One by one, I started calling. The venue was first. They already had my deposit, around $30,000. I explained that the wedding was canceled, and surprisingly, they didn't push back. "It happens more than you think," the manager told me. Since we were still 8 months out, they refunded 60%. That was $18,000 back into my account. The caterer was next. Same story, 50% back. Another $8,000 recovered. The planner was less friendly, but even she refunded a portion, minus her retainer. Florist gave me 40% back. The travel agency refunded almost everything for the Italy flights because I'd booked flexible. By the time I was done, I'd clawed back just over $50,000. Not everyone played nice. Our planner kept her $5,000 retainer, and the florist charged a non-refundable import fee. But most vendors refunded because we were 8 months out. The best part? A couple of the vendors actually respected me for it. The photographer said, "Honestly, man, you're dodging a bullet. We see guys lose their shirts all the time. You're smart, and thanks for the heads up. You freed up my calendar." The band manager said something similar. "Better to cut your losses early than keep sinking cash." When I hung up the last call, I sat back and let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. For the first time since this engagement started, I felt in control. That afternoon, instead of worrying about flower arrangements, I drove to the Tesla dealership. I'd been eyeing the new Roadster for months, but kept telling myself it wasn't practical. After clawing back 50 grand from a wedding circus, it felt like a reward. I placed a Roadster reservation. For day-to-day, I picked up a Model S while the Roadster sat in pre-order limbo. Back home, I called my contractor buddy Jalen, the same guy Selene thought was too rough, and had him come look at my condo office. We planned out a full upgrade. New built-ins, better lighting, a custom desk. If I was going to keep building my business, I wanted my space to reflect it. That spring, I upgraded to the penthouse level in the same building, same view, more light. The office build-out followed. When Selena came back from yoga that night, she didn't notice anything different. She launched into a rant about how one of her bridesmaids wasn't cooperating, and how she'd just replace her with someone who knew how important this was. I nodded, let her vent, didn't mention a word about the cancellations or the money. She thought she was running the show. She had no idea the stage was already gone. And it all unraveled on a Saturday afternoon. I was in my office going through some client emails when I heard Selene laughing in the living room with her maid of honor, Maribel. They were going through her binder, the one she had stuffed with pictures of centerpieces and flower arches. Then Maribel suggested, let's just call the venue and lock in the menu before it gets booked. I froze, already knowing what was about to happen. Selene put the call on speaker. Hi, this is Selene Vera. I need to finalize the menu for the Vera Holt wedding. There was a pause on the other end. Then the woman at the venue said, I'm sorry, ma'am. There must be a misunderstanding. That event was canceled last month. The refund has already been processed. The room went silent. What? Celine's voice cracked. I have it here in the system, the woman continued. Mr. Holt called personally to cancel. The date has since been rebooked. Selene shot up from the couch. That's impossible. Put it back on the calendar. I'm sorry, ma'am, the woman said again. We can offer you dates next year, but that weekend is gone. Click. Call ended. The shriek that followed could have shattered glass. She came storming down the hall into my office, face red, eyes wide. What the hell did you do? I didn't flinch. I canceled the wedding. You can't just cancel my wedding. Our wedding, I corrected. And I did, because you refused the prenup. I took you at your word. Her hands flew up. That wasn't literal. I was upset. You're twisting my words. I shook my head. You made it clear. You said you'd never sign. I took you seriously. You're insane. You humiliated me. People already got save the dates. What am I supposed to tell them? Tell them the truth, I said, that we're not getting married. She screamed, This is manipulation. You're holding me hostage with paperwork. No, I replied. This isn't manipulation. This is protection. A man doesn't gamble his empire for napkin colors. Her jaw dropped. She'd never heard me talk like that. Usually, I'd try to soften things, to calm her down. Not this time. Before she could respond, the doorbell rang. Roland and Isolde, her parents. She'd texted them on her way over. I buzzed them up. They walked in like they owned the place. Roland's face was red with anger. You humiliated my daughter. She humiliated herself by refusing to be reasonable. Isolde stepped forward, pointing a finger at me. You owe her this wedding. After parading her around, after making her believe you were serious, you owe her. I don't owe anyone a six-figure circus, I said. I offered her marriage with protection. She refused. That's where it ends. Roland slammed his hand on my desk. In our family, a man provides. That's tradition. Then maybe she should marry into your family again, because I'm not your son. I built my business with my own hands. I won't hand it over to chance, because your daughter wants fireworks at a villa. Selene was pacing now, hair flying, hands clenched. You're controlling. You're cheap. You're trying to punish me because I won't play by your rules. My rules are simple, I said. You made your choice. Isolde's voice was sharp. You're throwing away the best thing that ever happened to you. My daughter is beautiful, loyal. She could have any man she wanted. Then she should go find one, I said. That stunned them. For a moment, no one spoke. Celine's chest was heaving. Roland was glaring, and Isolde looked like she might faint. Finally, Selene shouted, Fine! If you won't fix this, I'm leaving. I'll go back to my parents. You can rot in this office with your spreadsheets. Do what you need to, I said. The choice has been yours from the start. She stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the frame. Roland and Isolde followed, throwing me looks like I'd just betrayed the entire family. The sound of her car peeling out of the driveway echoed for blocks. The house was quiet again. My office clock ticked. The wedding was gone. The circus over. That night, I noticed Celine's closet was half empty. She'd packed fast. I didn't stop her. I didn't text. I didn't call. She wanted no prenup. She got no wedding. When Selene left that day, she didn't just move back into her parents' place quietly. Within 48 hours, she had turned the whole situation into a show. Her mom and dad were fueling her fire. That much was obvious. I got 3 voicemails from Roland in one day, each one angrier than the last. The final one ended with, If you think you're walking away from my daughter after humiliating her like this, you've got another thing coming. I didn't respond. Then came the social media storm. Selene posted a TikTok the next week that made my jaw clench. She sat in her childhood bedroom, no makeup, hoodie on, crying into the camera. Soft piano music played in the background. Through tears, she said, I gave 3 years of my life to a man who told me I was his future. I put everything into planning our dream wedding, And one day, out of nowhere, he canceled everything. Why? Because I wouldn't sign a piece of paper that said I wasn't good enough to be trusted. He made me feel like a gold digger, like I was disposable. He destroyed my wedding, my dream, my life. The video cut to clips of the Amalfi Villa, pictures of dresses, and screenshots of her Pinterest boards. She finished with, "Girls, if a man really loves you, he won't need to protect himself from you. Real love doesn't need contracts." It exploded. Within 2 days, it had 500,000 views. Comments poured in. "Girl, you dodged a bullet. Men like that never change." Financial abuse 101. He wanted to control you. "This makes me sick. Stay strong, queen." I won't lie. It got to me. I started getting texts from people I knew, old college friends, even a couple clients. "Hey man, saw something online. Everything okay?" For the first time, I felt like maybe I was the villain in someone else's story. It stung. Then came the messages in my DMS. Random people calling me a coward, a control freak, even some stuff I won't repeat. Celine's followers were rallying behind her. And just when I thought it couldn't get worse, she dropped another TikTok. This one was even more dramatic. She sat in front of a table covered in the Save the Dates cards. She lit a candle, held one of the cards up to the camera, and whispered, "This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, it's ashes because of him." Then she burned it in the candle flame. The comments went wild. People were making duets, stitching her video, calling me heartless. For about a week, it looked like she had successfully painted me as the bad guy. But that's when things shifted. Out of nowhere, screenshots started circulating online. Not from me, from someone inside her own circle. It turned out one of her bridesmaids, the one who dropped out after Selena demanded $3,000 for gowns and the trip, had saved their group chat receipts, and she leaked them. The screenshots showed Celine typing, "Honestly, I don't care what Darius wants. He's my retirement plan. Once the ring's on, it's all mine." Another message read, "He's so uptight about money." I just smile and let him rant. Once we're married, what's his is mine anyway. There were more. Her bragging about how she'd finally landed a man who'd pay for everything. Her calling my best friend Jalen trailer trash. Her mocking my car because it wasn't flashy enough for her Instagram posts. People online turned instantly. The same comment section that had been full of "Stay strong, queen" now had things like, "Imagine calling your fiancé a retirement plan." So he was right to want a prenup. This ain't love. This is strategy. I didn't have to say a word, but I did post one thing. I put up a picture of the prenup draft, the front page only, with the caption, "Standard protection for my business and properties." Nothing crazy. This was what I asked for. Decide for yourself if that's controlling. Then I followed it up with screenshots of her Instagram captions calling me her provider. No commentary. Just posted them and left it there. The response was immediate. My notifications blew up, but this time in my favor. Guys in the comments were like, "Respect for protecting yourself." And women wrote, "She played herself. Should have just signed." The balance shifted. Celine's next few videos were flooded with people calling her out. Some of her own followers told her she was embarrassing herself. She tried one last time to save face, posting a story saying, "These screenshots are fake, edited by haters." But the bridesmaid who leaked them doubled down and even posted a screen recording of her scrolling through the chat in real time. There was no denying it. Celine deleted the crying TikTok, then the candle one, then eventually made her whole account private. By then, the damage was done. The girl who once bragged about her perfect provider fiancé was now being called a gold digger in her own comments. And the sympathy she thought she had? Gone in days. Watching it unfold was surreal. Just a week earlier, I'd been questioning myself, wondering if I'd overreacted, if maybe I had been too rigid. Now I didn't feel doubt anymore. The world had seen what I'd seen, who she really was. And this was only the beginning. The wedding was canceled, her image online was in ruins, but Celine still wasn't done trying to squeeze something out of me. The next battle was the ring. It wasn't just any ring. It was a custom piece I'd worked on with a jeweler for weeks. Platinum band, 2.5 carat diamond, designed exactly for her taste. Cost me north of $25,000. I didn't regret buying it at the time, but after everything that happened, I wasn't about to let her keep it as some trophy. She refused to give it back. When I asked, she crossed her arms and said, "It's mine. An engagement ring is a gift. You don't get to take back gifts just because you got cold feet." I reminded her that she was the one who said no prenup, no wedding. The engagement is off, the ring comes back. Her dad, Roland, jumped in like he'd been waiting for this moment. "She's keeping it. You humiliated her. You destroyed her dream, The least you can do is let her keep the ring. Consider it damages. Damages? I repeated. This isn't court, Roland. And the ring isn't a souvenir. Roland puffed his chest out. In our family, that's how it works. A man proposes, the woman keeps the ring no matter what. End of story. But I looked him dead in the eye. I don't give a damn about what your family thinks. Your rules don't apply to me. I paid for that ring, and it's coming back. Period. Roland stepped closer, chest puffed up like he was 20 again. You think you can disrespect me? I'll make sure people know what kind of man you are. We have friends, connections. I cut him off. You sell insurance, Roland. Sit down. You don't scare me, and your connections mean nothing here. His mouth opened, then closed again. For the first time since I'd known him, he looked small. I didn't bother arguing further. Instead, I called my jeweler and my insurance company the next day. My attorney sent a formal demand for return, and my insurer flagged the ring with local jewelers and pawn shops. If she tried to sell it, most reputable shops would refuse it and alert us. When Celine found out, she lost it. She called me screaming, "You reported me like a criminal? Over a ring?" I stayed calm. I paid for it. It's insured. If you won't return it, you're wrongfully withholding it. That's not personal. That's legal. She cursed me out for 2 straight minutes, then hung up. A week later, the ring arrived in a padded envelope at my office. No note, no apology. Just mailed back like she was dumping off trash. That should have been the end of it. But Celine wasn't done. 2 nights later, the concierge called. Celine and her parents were downstairs. I hadn't updated my guest list since the engagement. A minute later, they were at my door. I opened it to see her standing there, arms crossed, Roland and Isolde behind her like backup singers. Fine, Selena started, her voice sharp. I'll sign your stupid prenup. I raised an eyebrow. Now? Yes. But there are conditions. I cut her off immediately. There's nothing to negotiate. Her eyes widened. You didn't even hear them. I don't need to, I said. The answer's no. My boundaries aren't up for bargain. You showed me who you are. That's all I needed to see. She stepped closer, almost shaking with anger. So that's it? After 3 years? After everything? You're just walking away? You walked away the moment you treated me like a bank instead of a partner, I said. Roland barked. Don't talk to my daughter like that. I turned to him. Then don't show up at my door trying to tell me how to live. You don't make the rules here. You wanted to raise a princess, that's fine. But I'm not paying tribute to your kingdom. Isolde tried a softer approach. Darius, be reasonable. She's willing to meet you halfway. Isn't that what compromise is about? I shook my head. Compromise is splitting dessert, not giving away my house and income to someone who wouldn't even respect me enough to sign a basic agreement. That's when Selene snapped. Her voice rose, her face red. You know what, Darius? You're pathetic. You hide behind contracts because you're scared. A real man wouldn't need this. A real man would step up and take care of me without question. I didn't move. Then go find one. She blinked, thrown off by how quickly I said it. I will, she shot back, jabbing a finger at me. I'll find a real man who isn't scared of commitment, who isn't scared of love. I looked her dead in the eye. You'll find one, but you'll never find one like me. For a second, the room went silent. Even Roland didn't have a comeback. Selene's face twisted, half fury, half disbelief. She turned on her heel and stormed down the hall, her parents scrambling after her. The door slammed so hard my picture frames rattled. I stood there in the quiet, knowing that was the last time she'd ever stand in my home. I felt lighter than I had in months. After everything, Celine tried rebranding as a financial coach for women, selling independence while her old provider captions kept resurfacing in the comments. Every reel got hit with, "Did your retirement plan cancel?" Her Zoom sessions flopped, the booking page disappeared. Then she latched onto a so-called crypto investor, leased BMW, 2 roommates, rented watches. Photos of them together got roasted instantly, from penthouses to fake flex bros. Quite the downgrade. While her life stalled, mine accelerated. With the wedding circus canceled and refunds back in my account, I leveled up. I bought a condo in Barcelona, spent weeks traveling Spain and Italy, posting just enough to show peace beats chaos. Back home, business boomed. New properties, a major contract, and an upgraded office with my Model S downstairs. Every morning felt like proof that standing firm paid off. That's around when I met Aurelia. She was a lawyer, sharp as they come, and unlike Selene, she didn't play games. Our first few conversations were nothing like the old days with Celine. No bragging, no fishing for gifts. Aurelia asked me direct questions about my goals, my boundaries, even my past relationships. On our third date, She brought up the prenup conversation herself. If this ever becomes serious, I'd want one in place. I've worked hard for what I have, and I expect you to respect that. I nearly laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was refreshing. We started dating steadily, and it just clicked. She was independent, confident, and didn't need me to bankroll her life. Being with her felt like a partnership, not a performance. Then came the run-in with Celine. It happened at a rooftop restaurant downtown. Aurelia and I had gone for dinner after work, and as luck would have it, Celine was there with her crypto boyfriend. We spotted each other almost at the same time. She smirked, walked over, and wasted no time making a scene. Well, well, she said loudly, glancing at Aurelia. Upgraded already, huh? What's the deal this time? Did you make her sign your famous contract before appetizers? People at nearby tables turned their heads. Aurelia didn't flinch. She set her wine glass down and smiled politely. Actually, I brought up the prenup first, she said smoothly. It's called being a responsible adult. Maybe if you understood contracts, you wouldn't be where you are now. Selena's face went stiff. Her boyfriend shifted uncomfortably, clearly not expecting to be dragged into this. I leaned back in my chair. Selena, this is Aurelia. She's a lawyer. She knows exactly why protection matters. Aurelia added, and just for the record, mocking people in public only makes you look worse. But you already know that, don't you? Celine stammered something about me being controlling, but Aurelia cut her off. No, he's smart. There's a difference. You confused those two, and it cost you. The silence that followed was brutal. People nearby were clearly enjoying the free drama. Celine's cheeks went red, and her crypto boyfriend muttered, "Let's just go." They stormed off without finishing their drinks. Aurelia picked her glass back up and smirked. That was entertaining. I couldn't help but laugh. For the first time, I didn't feel anger towards Celine, just pity. From that night on, I didn't hear much more about her. She kept posting here and there, trying to act unbothered, but the sparkle was gone. Her following shrank, sponsorships dried up, and eventually her account went private. As for me, life only got better. My business kept growing. Aurelia and I got closer, and for once I felt like I was building with someone who valued the same things I did. One morning I stood in my penthouse, sipping coffee while the city stretched out in front of me. The place was quiet, sunlight pouring through the windows. No chaos, no drama. Just me, my work, and the woman sitting on the balcony scrolling through legal briefs like it was nothing. I thought back to the moment Celine said, "I'll never sign." She thought it was a victory. In reality, it was the best warning I ever got. I didn't just dodge a bullet, I dodged a missile. And I've never been more at peace. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.